7 years ago, when he was chief executive of BP, Lord Browne received a phone call from a Mail on Sunday journalist that would change his life.
Lord Browne, why did you find it necessary to resign? Did you commit perjury? No interview.
The tabloid newspaper would ultimately out him as gay, and he was forced to resign after admitting that while applying for an injunction, he'd lied about how he met his former partner. Well, Lord Browne has now written a book published today which is called The Glass Closet, Why Coming Out is Good Business. In it, he expresses his regret for hiding his homosexuality while he was at BP and argues that it's better for gay men and women and their businesses to bring their authentic selves to work. Welcome to you, Lord Browne. Of course, in the strict business term, being outed, coming out of the closet was not good for your immediate business career at BP.
No, because of the way it happened. And I made one very important error of judgment, probably some others as well, which was to lie in a court paper. So it was obvious to me that I had to resign when, the moment the judgment went against me to lift the injunction on the Daily Mail.
Politics, media, the professions all seem less concerned about people's sexuality than the business world does. I mean why is that, do you think?
Business and sport, I think, is still pretty behind. Well, I think it's a general conservative view that the fewer things that get in the way of doing business, the better. That's what people think, and that's probably why they hide their sexuality in business.
Of course, for companies operating internationally, we have a hardening of attitudes in places like Russia and the Middle East and certainly Africa more recently. And they may say, well, you know, how can we have a gay chief executive visiting these countries if it's something that's going to be prosecuted? Or...
Well, my guess is if you're senior enough and you have a big enough profile, chances are you'll get away with it. It really is the people in the middle of a company. And that's why, because they could be subject to blackmail and all sorts of harassment and possibly jail in these 77 countries where homosexuality is illegal or capital punishment.
But you're saying people should be honest.
So they should be honest, which means their companies should at least give them the choice not to go to those places, and stay out, or at least when they're there, to counsel them very carefully, to say, be very careful what you do. I mean, the point of the book, of course, is not just to talk about me, it's to talk about what to do in business.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You know, businesses like, you know, the old US Army, don't ask, don't tell, used to be their position on people's sexuality, but you're arguing that they need to go beyond that.
Quite the reverse. They should, because they bring, first of all, they bring the whole selves to work. They don't have two lives, they have one life, and I think every single analysis of how business works is when the climate's right for people to be themselves, productivity rises enormously by, you know, 30% or so. It's really worth doing. But they need the right conditions. I mean, they need to be led in the right way, which is to give them, you know, the tone from the top. They need role models, and that's really important. People who have succeeded, so that people know it's okay to come out.
And you've actually decided to, you know, go from being a very private individual almost to being a poster boy or a poster child of...
Well, it'd be nice to be a poster child or poster boy, but a poster man for this activity. Yes, I think I'm making up for lost time. Wouldn't it have been great, in a hypothetical way, to have led BP as an openly gay person? There isn't an openly gay CEO in the S&P 500, which is a remarkable statistic.
Yeah, I mean, you know. Do you think there ever will be?
Yeah, I'm certain. I think this progress is good. In so many fields, business has got to make up for lost time. I do think getting these role models out, and that's why I've got a website to go with this book called glasscloset.org, which talks about people's stories and gets more and more people to add stories to it. I mean, they're in the book as well.
Yeah, and you do go through a lot of personal histories, but if you look at your own personal history and the people you talk to, what are the consequences of coming out of the closet? Often when you reach quite a senior position and have a group of friends for where your sexuality is not an issue, I mean, what happens? I
think 90% of it is you have to change your mental attitude. Most of this is, it's the worst fears that you dream of at night, and actually most of them don't come true in reality. So what happens is you have to change your mindset. When I left BP, I thought that no one would ever talk to me again. I really thought that. And I was so mistaken. I was inundated with letters of support from straight people and gay people. I was given support very publicly. It changed my life rather wonderfully.
So, I mean, as far as British business is concerned and American business, which you know so well, would it be fair to say that you don't think it's homophobic?
I think it probably has unconscious bias. You know, senior selection panels always look for people like themselves. That's why there's a big struggle in getting women, for example, still, after all these years, into the C-suite, let alone on the board, actually. That is the problem. And this is no different from that. Everyone's going to have to practice, rehearse and get right, set the tone from the top, get the role models, tell the stories, and most importantly, since most of the world is straight, straight people have to figure out, you know, that they just actually should not behave as if everybody is straight, because then it says to people, I'm not going to come out.
Lord Browne, thank you very much indeed, and glasscloset.org, where you can find out more. Thank you.
Thank you.